Right. It is 12:01 according to my clock. So I'm going to go ahead and get things kicked off. Good afternoon or good morning or good evening, everyone, wherever you happen to be joining us. My name's Scott Anton, VP of Sales with Gideon Taylor, and I want to welcome you to our webinar Lunch and Learn today. Stay Vanilla, Look Modern, Reimagining Your PeopleSoft UX. And this is one that I've been waiting for the last couple of months. So I'm excited to hear UCOP's, University of California Office of the President's story in terms of reimagining their PeopleSoft UX. A couple of quick housekeeping items. We are recording this webinar, and we will be sending out links to the folks, to all of you who registered. So you can go ahead and share that at your leisure once you receive it. We host these Lunch and Learns on a monthly basis. So you should receive notices of those as they're announced. You can also find information on the events page on gideontaylor.com. That outlines not only upcoming Lunch and Learn events, but also any conference presentations or sponsors we might be doing in the foreseeable future, and other webinar content that we're going to be hosting. Everybody is muted. And if you've got a question, please feel free to post that in the chat or in the Q&A. We can respond to those. Occasionally, we'll respond to those as we're going through the presentation. We're happy to take a pause. We will probably also leave some of those for the end, just so that we can manage our time. But we hope that we can get to everybody's questions. And I think that this will be a very interesting and exciting presentation. The University of California Office of the President recently undertook a project to fully reimagine their user experience. Using people tools and Gideon Taylor's web UX techniques, they delivered a truly elevated user experience while also simplifying their technical environment, consolidating functionality, and retiring legacy systems. The benefits have been profound, and we'll explore some of those on the call today. I am very pleased to introduce Bill Freer and Susie Mendoza from the University of California, joined by members of the Gideon Taylor project team, Andrew Bediz and Chuck Ritchie. I'll let them introduce themselves in more detail, and I will hand it over to Andrew. Do you mind if I hand it over to you first?
You can, but I'm just going to hand it right to Chuck.
I see. Then go right ahead. Thanks, guys.
Right.
Good luck.
All right. So, hi, I'm Chuck Ritchie. I'm a solution architect at Gideon Taylor. I've been working with Gideon Taylor in the web UX for probably 17 years now. And so definitely have a lot of experience and seen a lot of things with customers across many industries. So I'm very excited to have Andrew here, have Bill and Susie, and I think we have something that'll be pretty nice for you guys. So with that, I'm going to have Andrew introduce himself.
All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Bediz. At Gideon Taylor, we have a practice that is focused on artificial intelligence and user experience, and that practice rolls up to me. So I've been engaged with the University of California for a long time now, and thrilled that the first phase of their efforts have gone live. I think you guys will love what you see, and I'm excited.
Okay, and Bill Frere.
Hello, everyone. Bill Frere. I'm the Assistant Director of IT at the UC Path Center. I've been with the UC Path Center now for about 12 years, with the University of California system for 23. And as Andrew said, we're very excited to be able to speak with all of you today. And I'll pass it over to Susie.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Susie Mendoza. I'm one of the product managers here at the UC Path Center. I have been with UC for just over 8 years now, and it was really a great opportunity to be part of this project.
Great. So for today's Lunch and Learn, kind of the agenda, we're going to go through our presentation, kind of learn a little background on the project, look at some of the solution, then we'll dive into a actual presentation, a live demonstration of the system, and then we'll come back, answer, open it up for some Q&A, and yeah, so let's get going. So really, why UX matters for PeopleSoft, probably way back when I started with the web GT team on the web UX products, there was not a lot of UX in enterprise applications, and everyone's going out to commercial sites and everything having a great experience, then going into their enterprise software and really struggling. So, adding a whole UX layer to PeopleSoft is really important. And number one, it helps with efficiency, speeds up finding information. It's reduction in training time. So there's really like an ROI on time savings. There's engagement where again, people are used to all these nice websites throughout the internet. So having a nice website for your enterprise kind of really helps engage the users, keeps them focused and able to interact with the site. And that really helps the business process. And really, users are really satisfied with the modern, intuitive experience, and that really helps drive people coming to the self-service site and finding what they need and reducing those support tickets. With this, Andrew, I'm going to hand it to you for a little high-level discussion on this.
Well, thanks, Chuck. I think nowadays, it was different 10 years ago, but nowadays I don't think anybody needs convincing that user experience is important. In fact, when they survey folks who have left PeopleSoft to go to, let's say, cloud SaaS applications, right around 50% of the reason they are wanting to move is related to user experience or modernization in some way, shape, or form. So when you see those projects, costing anywhere, some as high as $100 million. There's quite a bit to save if you simply just address the user experience. It's clearly a very important aspect for many enterprises and organizations and higher ed institutions. Now, one of the benefits with University of California, this is why it's such a great journey, is when they first started talking to us, they really thought about the user experience holistically. They didn't think about just how does PeopleSoft provide user experience, but what does the user need, and how do we meet them where they are and address those needs? So that is both their experience on the web, that's their experience interacting with a help desk, a ticketing system, that's their experience searching for information, that's their experience as it relates to how can maybe AI play a role. And so there's many legs to this user experience tool. What you'll see today is merely the first step in this process. It is the web experience. It does cover multiple things I just mentioned, but they are going to go through an evolution here, and it's just going to get better and better with each iteration. So I think, Chuck, the next slide, I think what's important with user experience is, we're going to stop short of saying ROI and user experience, because usually the ROI is measured in, you can't really measure the ROI of happiness, right, so much, but you can look at how much time are we saving people. Nobody who uses HR systems on an infrequent basis are doing it because that's part of their job responsibilities, right? They have a job to do. They need to get back to it, right? Or they're a student and they have a degree to get and they need to get back to it. They don't need to be wasting time in cycles. So can we measure the impact we can have if we save people time? And we save people time by making things easy, less clicks. I can, more intuitive. I can digest the information and find what I need more quickly. And so we want to always look at this because that's what matters to the user. And you can see how, how big that opportunity really is. An organization, let's say the size of 35,000 employees, if we can merely save 1 hour a week, right? If the average salary is around 70K, you're talking about a $61 million opportunity to save people time. Of course, to actually turn that into money, yes, things have to change, right? You may reduce headcount somewhere, or you may have less, help desk human beings, or whatever the case may be. And not every organization wants to do those things, but saving time does have value because they can use that time on more valuable tasks. And it is a massive opportunity. And, the University of California is just starting this journey, but wanting to emphasize how impactful it can be. So thank you, Chuck. And
thank you, Andrew.
Good luck. Yeah.
All right. So with this, I'm going to hand it over to Bill and to discuss a little bit about the university.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. So we wanted to provide just a little background on who we are. So the UC Path Center is an HR shared service center for the University of California system. And we're a very large system. We have 265,000 faculty and staff. We have 10 campuses and 6 academic health centers across California. We have 3 national labs. And the center is the largest HR shared service center in U.S. higher education. And we provide HR, payroll, benefits related services to all of those campuses and academic health centers and one of the labs. So we're very large. From a technology standpoint, we are a PeopleSoft-based system. And you can see on the screen, we have PeopleSoft HCM. We also have GTE forms, and we've been using Gideon Taylor's eForm since 2018. We actually have 7 forms currently, and we're in the process of doing some enhancements to those. And really the focus of this discussion is really the web UX. And we're going to get a little bit more into that, but that's the new piece of the puzzle that we added with this project.
Right. All right. And here we go into the another slide, Bill.
Yeah, and this one's just mainly a visual, and this is going to transition to Susie. So this really provides some screenshots of what the old UC Path self-service portal looked like. We implemented this back in 2017. At the time, we thought we had a modern, mobile responsive solution, but over time, it was dated. And so it was about time to revamp it and make it better and more modern. So rather than go into these details, I'm going to turn it over to Susie, and she can speak to these on the next slide and give you some more background on this project.
Thank you so much, Bill. So as Bill mentioned, we are the largest HR shared service center in higher education. Because it was such a large population, the way that we ended up converting all of the campuses and academic health centers into the shared service center was in phases. So we started the deployments back in, I believe, 2015 with Office of the President, and then we went on and did additional conversions throughout the years. We went fully live system-wide in July of 2020, so it had been about 5 years since we had made any changes to the system. And as Bill mentioned, back when this first started, it was modern. It was better than the legacy system that was, I think, about 35 years old. But there hadn't been a lot of changes since that overall go live in July of 2020. So realizing that it was time to changes, not just on the architecture side, but also on the user experience. Some of the high-level goals that we had were to really enhance that user experience, take those 5 years of really getting to know who our customer base was and what some of the problems and ways that we could improve the system, taking those into account and trying to reduce the number of clicks that they had, how they accessed their information, and of course, reducing that complexity. And I think one of the key features was not just kind of reaching that, let's transform this, but how do we keep this modern over time, and we continue to make improvements and build on that. I think one of the key goals, and I think I'll talk about this a little bit later, is we're trying to leverage deliver PeopleSoft wherever possible. With such a large organization, there is a lot of complexity that comes when we do our PUM upgrades, anytime that we're making any enhancements to the system. So being able to stay with the delivered PeopleSoft was a key goal for us. Again, some of the high-level benefits, we wanted to improve the layout, simplify the navigation. Bill just showed the previous portal, and so there was a lot of clicks. The menu was not very intuitive. Things were kind of spread out through different areas, and we didn't have a lot of personalized content. There was things kind of spread out everywhere, even for various type of roles. So somebody who is just an everyday employee versus somebody who had the ability to transact in PeopleSoft. I think we can go ahead and of course, one of the major benefits are the decreased costs in the vendors that we had.
Right.
And just to kind of expand on what Susie just talked about is, from a technical standpoint, we really simplified the platform in terms of the number of vendors, the number of technology platforms, the complexity. We actually were able to reduce our footprint, eliminating 4 layers of technology. So that was key. That helps us be able to maintain and enhance the system much easier. The other benefit here, since the technology was simplified with the Gideon Taylor Web UX solution, is we now give the administrators, the content administrators, and our developers more capabilities to extend and enhance the solution, cut down on that time to get these improvements out to our user base. So really simplifying the technology enabled us to do that.
And then we've talked about this a little bit, but the streamlined the service of redesigning and making it modern. Bill mentioned we thought the previous version that we had was mobile responsive, but it really did struggle sometimes to resize accordingly. So with our new portal that went live in July, the mobile responsiveness is really there. And so we also did a lot of work with our accessibility team to make sure that everything that we delivered was met accessibility compliance. And one of the biggest things, again, for us as an organization is scalability. How do we make it easy for us to deliver additional enhancements, things, especially with AI really, coming front and center and being able to provide our employees with access to information that they need. So looking at a chatbot expansion is something that we're currently working on, additional integrations with our Salesforce knowledge base, and adding additional portal features. So there was a lot that we did with the redesign, and even as we were kind of going through the project, and I know we'll talk about that with our lessons learned, we identified a lot of opportunities for us to continue to enhance it and give employees access to that information, really kind of driving that time savings. So when we look at the UC population, right, we have a lot of individuals that are focused on extremely important work. So when they have to go into our HR system, we want them to be able to go in there, do what they need to do, right? Whether that's enroll in benefits, review their paycheck, do what they need to do, and not have to worry about it. So that was a key thing in terms of operational impact. Another feature that was really important for us was the ability to communicate with such a large, diverse population. So our previous portal was limited to one notice at a time. We actually had a shared calendar where people would fight for the space to be able to deliver messages to our employees. And so being able to use the GT notices function has given us the ability to communicate really important changes more effectively. And again, just kind of reiterate our guiding principles. So staying vanilla. I think anytime we hear the word customize or a custom, customization that we have to do, everybody kind of cringes because we know that for future upgrades, it's going to require a lot of additional work. The modern look and feel. I think Andrew mentioned all of the websites that are out there right now. They're so intuitive, easy to use, and that was something that we wanted to bring into the new UC Path portal. And doing that also meant minimizing the number of clicks. That was something that our customers, so we work with the HR professionals, HR benefit professionals at our campuses who use the system on a regular basis because they're entering information into PeopleSoft. And for them, the number of clicks and reducing that number of clicks is extremely important. Also making it familiar. We did work on developing new training material, but with an intuitive system, right? It should just come with ease of use. And I think we're really able to accomplish that.
Great. Hey, thanks, Susie. Yeah, and those guiding principles is really something that we aligned well with GT and the University of California. Staying vanilla. Again, our products, we like to have bolt-ons and take advantage of the PeopleSoft technology, and providing that modern look and feel. So we'll get into kind of the solution and kind of seeing that new look and feel, and discuss some of the usability here. So the big thing with the University of California is they wanted to have a consistent brand, and they want to bring their brand. So we'll see that their identity is expressed on this site, with their colors and their branding standards. We work with their team to really kind of fulfill that, make sure we're matching that. And while still providing a user interface that was spacious and something, not overloading the self-service users, and providing them the information they need, while adhering to that branding standard. So really with PeopleSoft, there's a number of UX capabilities with the vanilla people tools. And again, all of our products are built on vanilla PeopleSoft. So all this stuff people can do to develop on their own, but again, our modules kind of help speed that process up. But really, from our team, we work closely with the UCOP team. They have their developers working on fluid pages for all their self-service, so that helps things be mobile friendly and WCAG AA compliant, which is going to be important with the ADA 2026 Act coming next year. And then we leverage portal branding, headers and footers. PeopleSoft, they allow like JavaScript and style sheet includes, so we take advantage of that, and really our People Tools modules, which we'll kind of discuss and show some of that. So really from the modules that we leveraged here during this implementation, one of the big things is navigation of the menus. As Susie said, there's a lot of clicks to get to things before, and a lot of searching and just trying to find things. And so really one of the things that we did was we provided a consistent header that has a mega menu. And this goes across all pages, including Fluid, Classic, iScripts. So as a user kind of navigates a way to do a transaction, they can easily get back to the experience and get back to the home pages or other related transactions. So really that helps. And then on certain landing pages, we also kind of expose some of those menu items for quick access. For this, we leverage a tool, Page Builder, for organizing information architecture and creating dynamic landing pages. So really, this kind of helped fed the mega menu and just kind of how the information was broken up into easy sections for users to digest and access. We had the web UX alerts. So as Susie mentioned, the notices. This provides personalized notifications and alerts across pages, and these can be tailored on different pages for different alerts. And each of these are really leverage personalized security and can target individual users or groups of users, roles, and so that really allowed them to focus and give multiple messages in a nice format for the users. For the design of this site, we use really modern UI components. So we have a UI kit and core framework, and we've been leveraging Oracle Jet and JSON templating for a responsive, mobile-friendly and accessibility compliant interfaces. So a lot of this site is kind of driven off of that. Getting these real-time data dashboards, these landing pages have a lot of data, so we actually can go out using our data source plugin and pull data that's personalized for the user, and have that actually leveraged in our UI components. And finally, the content management. In the past, content management was strictly in the interaction hub. So we're able to leverage a content management system with our tools that can be in any PeopleSoft system. So for the university's case, it's in HCM, and that allowed us to kind of create and manage URLs, HTML, files, images, and create categories that links these together that can be presented on the site. So yeah, it's fun actually implementing these for the university. So as far as the role-based personalization, again, here's some examples where this is like the employee homepage, and maybe contingent workers have access to this page, but they might not see some of that information, like my pay. The alerts, that's the image right there being shown. The users can actually go and dismiss alerts if they don't want to see their notification anymore. And really, again, depending on who you are, you might have less alerts. And then, like, say, this open enrollment example up at the top is something that maybe those who have an open enrollment would see with a countdown timer. But really, all this content can be tailored and really driven by security to give a personalized experience. For the unified navigation of search, again, here's our header. It's like one navigation that's accessible everywhere. And it has a mega menu that drops down. And so we really have it streamlined, for navigation. We got logical organization of the links, process focus, and really it's designed to be low click. And then we have our search integration. Here is an integration with Coveo. This is something that the self-service topics and a lot of information is in there. So we had a direct integration with that. And again, this is a mobile responsive experience. And once we show the demo, you can kind of see how some of the information is responsive. It can stack and produce an app-like mobile experience. So kind of with that, I think I'd like to probably hand this over to Susie, who is going to be doing live demonstration and walking through some of the implementation.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share. So I think in order to really do the upgrade justice, I wanted you to see our old portal. So as you look at one of our test environments, it still has that. This is kind of what it used to look like. You can see the menu, right? Very fragmented. I kind of had to go and click on everything in order to see it. And the biggest change for our backend users was really the integration of that mega menu. So in the previous one, if I clicked that PeopleSoft homepage, this is where I would do a lot of my work, right? Completely different look and feel. The search features were in two different places. So I would have to go here to search that self-service content and then into the PeopleSoft homepage to search our PeopleSoft content. So with the redesign, this is now the updated look and feel. So when Chuck mentioned personalization, I'm logged in as 3 different profiles, and I wanted to share with you how we really customized it based on the person's access. So in this current account that I'm in, I am not only someone who has direct reports, so I have my manager hub, but I'm also someone who is doing work in PeopleSoft, so I have my transactor hub. We were able to take all of the items that were kind of dispersed throughout different areas and really put them into segmented kind of topics. So this is where I can now click through the different menu items. I can quickly access information that I want to see. And then we also have the individual landing pages. So information that before I didn't really, again, going back to that previous one, I had to kind of click through everything to see what was available for me. This now has its own dedicated landing page. So here I'm able to see a quick paycheck. I'm able to see my tax withholdings. Any of the information that I want to be able to look through, I can just click on there. The menu items that are listed here are, again, available for me on this side, right-hand side pane. So I don't have to go back to that menu to click through different items. And in this next role that I have here, this is someone who is only doing work in PeopleSoft, but they're not a manager, so they don't have direct reports. You'll notice the difference between this role and the previous one is that manager hub is now gone. I don't even know that it exists because it's not relevant to my role. And then I'll click on the PeopleSoft homepage because now you'll see that I stay within that look and feel of the portal. I don't have any titles, but I stay within that look and feel of the portal versus in our previous version, it was again that fragmented feel. The theme didn't carry forward. Chuck talked about the branding. So branding was really important to us as an organization. We really wanted to mimic the existing UC sites that we had, like our Retirement Administration Service Center, like our UC Net, which is where a lot of our employee information is published. And then I have this additional role. So this is for someone, we have contingent workers in our system. So these are, as you can see here, someone who may be hired through a temp agency. They don't get paid out of the UC Path system. So again, being able to personalize their experience. So they didn't have tiles that weren't relevant to their role. In our previous system, you would still see a benefits tile, you would still see a pay tile, even though that was information that wasn't available for you within the UC Path system. And that resulted in a lot of contact information to our call center because if you see something, you probably expect there to be information there. Let me see if this one has PeopleSoft so you can see what that looks like. Yeah, so you can see here, right, the tiles stay there and menu still appears. For the search feature for our transactors, we were able to bring the two searches together. So I still have access to the PeopleSoft search here, but if I wanted to review our self-service content that is managed through Coveo, then I still have the ability to do that as well. So we have the two searches. Another important factor for us was keeping things familiar. This Ask UC Path button, it was a big deal for our customers for a lot of our campuses. So being able to incorporate that into the design, I think was a big win for us, just to manage the changes, make sure people still felt like the system was familiar to them. You were also able to personalize and bring in the PeopleSoft native icons for those transactor roles. And I had one more that I wanted to organize really quickly. Anything else you would want to add to this, Phil?
I think just to emphasize the personalized content, Chuck mentioned it earlier, with different notices that we can target different populations on, and that really helps us get information out to the appropriate group that's relevant to them versus everybody seeing the same notices. So we're starting to leverage that feature much more.
Thank you. This was another one. So this is for someone who is an employee. Another big thing for us from a compliance standpoint was making sure that we were able to have employees complete an onboarding activity guide before they're able to access the system. So in our previous version of UC Path, there was a workaround. So if you just clicked on this logo, it would let you bypass that onboarding activity guide. And we were able to work with GT to bring this into the system. And so now you can notice the mega menu it doesn't appear until I complete this. So this was another big piece from us from a compliance standpoint that we were able to maintain through the redesign. These are the notices that Bill was mentioning. So we're able to target specific audiences with these. If it's something that's extremely important, right, we want to put it on the homepage. If it's related to income and taxes, we can display it in the income and taxes sub-landing page. So being able to, again, target those specific audiences has been another thing that's been extremely helpful for us. Again, when you're trying to communicate with a population the size of the UC system, that is an extremely beneficial feature for us to have. So we can see it. We'll go to income and taxes. Or we can choose to display it again. So you still have it here. We can make them dismissible. So that was a feature that we really wanted to do. And the ones that are extremely important, we want people to enroll in direct deposit, right? This one stays there. Being able to categorize a lot of the information, that was extremely helpful. And then another feature that we were able to incorporate was these new eForm landing hubs. So I think we mentioned in the beginning, we do currently have 7 GTE forms. So we were able to redesign those and really incorporate them into the new design of our UC Path portal. That was extremely helpful. And I think that's it.
Susie, one other thing I wanted to just highlight, and you're showing it on your screen on that top blue bar. What we were able to do is blend the native PeopleSoft functionality and the icons that you see kind of towards the top right corner with our own navigation. So those people the users that have the ability to transact in PeopleSoft, we still give them quick access to the native tools in PeopleSoft. And at the same time, access to the menu that gets into all the content and the self-service pages. So that was a huge win, because now those types of users can work from one interface versus having to jump from one tab to another.
That's a great point, Bill. Yes.
Yeah. And then maybe Susie, on the home or personal information, you can bring the width, more towards a mobile width, and we can kind of see the responsive behavior.
Okay, we got the personal information. We do have security questions around personal information, so. You can see that it adjusts really well. But it adjusts really well. The mobile response is responsiveness was a big part of this as well. So now when I go here, I can still see the menu. The Ask UC Path button stays yellow. Again, that was a really big request from our customer base to be able to do that. So this was really great. And even if you zoom in, so yesterday I was helping someone and they had their screen very zoomed in, but it adjusts even to the zoom in, right? Where the menu maybe it isn't just compressed, it's available in that little, I forgot what it's called, but the little like lines there. So it's extremely responsive both to mobile devices and I think even to individuals who maybe have higher zoom on their screen.
Great.
Okay.
All right. So let me know if you can see my screen. Okay,
Yes.
great. All right. So as far as our implementation timeline, we had our kickoff meetings in November 2024. We did start our design at the end of the year and it really kicked off the 2025 starting in on our development and had a pretty large testing window. And within that, we had some iterations to improve on development and to capture some new needs. And then really we launched in July of 2025. So, with this, it's a, pretty sizable implementation. And I know when we started, it was a little bit smaller. And then we kind of worked with the teams and came up with a really good plan to get a lot of this implemented in a pretty quick timeline.
And so change management and adoption, again, a population that is extremely large, and we have a lot of different campuses who have different sort of support models. Some are centralized, others are decentralized. So communication was an extremely important part of how we managed this change. We did start about 3 months before with a communication plan, sort of a campaign to get we have an OCM and training community of interest that I help facilitate, that got our really change agents on board, helping us share this news. So they started putting it in their local newsletters. We targeted pretty much any channel that we had available to us and also made sort of a promo video. So really highlighting the fact, again, it had been 5 years since we went live system-wide. In those 5 years, we really got to know the population that we were serving, not just staff, but our faculty members, our student population, a lot of different things that were learned along the way. And that helped us make a system that was going to give employees access to their information to save them time. And we really wanted to highlight the fact that the important work that is being done within our organization, we don't want to take away from that by, making you spend 30 minutes enrolling in direct deposit or, 10 minutes trying to find a simple answer to a question that you have. So that was really the focus of our communication, is highlighting the benefits, highlighting accessibility, mobile responsiveness, things of that nature. In terms of training, we do have a large training repository, but a lot of our training material was outdated and fragmented. So we kind of took a full inventory of everything that we had and tried to combine it into one. With the redesign came a lot of intuitive, kind of just self-guiding, and that kind of takes us into our stakeholder engagement. We created a focus group from our customer base. So we took volunteers from our different campuses, people that worked in the system all the time, people that really never went in there maybe once a year to do open enrollment. And with that focus group, we really kind of walked through the design. So Chuck was a big part of that, but we would take some of the changes that we made and then show it to them. The PeopleSoft homepage button, I think we did a lot of surveys, where do you find it easier to do? We did some tree testing with them as well. Really wanted to make them feel like they were part of the redesign, because that was our goal, was to make sure that whatever we were designing was going to help meet the needs of our customer base. And so that focus group for us was, I think, a big win, along with the communication and just starting that early. And being able to highlight some of the things that people asked for, even if we weren't able to do them, explaining to them why, we either had the majority who opted for something else, but not being dismissive of any of the feedback that we got, but really just kind of walking through and keeping an inventory of the changes and the decisions that were made. And so I think that that part really contributed to adoption of the new system.
Right. Yeah, so really from the project, there's a lot of things that we saw that worked, and then some pitfalls to avoid, some lessons learned. I'd say one of the best things with the team collaboration and separation of duties, really that worked really well for this project. We had the GT team working on the Web UX framework, the unified header, landing pages, the widgets, the eForm implementation. We worked closely with the UCOP's business analysts and their developers. They really worked on the fluid component development and the requirements, and their business analysts were instrumental. Were just great for this project. We had SQL. They helped with SQL development and also actually taking on some of the content responsibilities. And as Susie mentioned, the focus group, that they're dedicated to the project, and that really helped getting feedback and approvals quicker. And I'd say like Bill, he was really kind of in the trenches, his thumbs on the pulse, really saw what was going on and was able to work close with the executive teams and really help keep the vision in line. And then as far as pitfalls, I think some of the things we learned, lessons learned is we have a lot of accessibility reviews that came in. A lot of we're leveraging Oracle Jet and the fluid component, so there's a lot of accessibility built in. But at the same time, through the implementation, there's a lot of changes and really trying to really make things compliant. So we had some reviews later in the process, so we needed to kind of do the fine tuning kind of late. The other thing is for some of the content alerts, there's some like last minute image updates as we were kind of preparing for production, and I know some of those were a little large and needed to be optimized. And and then also we have Margaret on the call, and she's involved with a lot of our eForms and a lot of our business analysts on our side. And so there's a lot of, we kind of implemented additional eForms really kind of late in the project. So some things to avoid is, making sure you have a better understanding of the scope, and we managed to get it all in time. So did really well there. So kind of with that, I don't know if Susie or Bill, if you have some other things you want to discuss on what worked well and some pitfalls.
I would say just kind of echoing what you said about our location focus group. I think the daily meetings, I was just having Chuck the other day. I went from seeing you every day to it had been a couple months since you went live. But really working very closely with the GT team and incorporating the feedback that we got, not just from our business teams, but also from our customers. That worked really well. I think one of the biggest opportunities for us was to get a better inventory of what we had in the system and what we wanted to move over. So Chuck mentioned the changes to the eForms. Before, the eForms were in these kind of consolidated link in the old portal. And so we thought, okay, let's just place the eForms, if it's a benefits eForm, we'll place it under benefits. But we didn't stop to think, well, what happened to that combined view and update search? And so it was really late in the project when we realized, well, now we have nowhere to view it. And if we added, a view and update link for every single form, it was going to really make the menu look really busy. Luckily, GT was able to come in and help us come up with a much better solution than I think we ever envisioned. But it did cause some stress because we waited a little bit. So having a really good inventory of what you currently have and making sure that you capture the scope of those kind of lingering items, I think was one of the biggest lessons learned for me.
Yeah, great. Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things is kind of now having a framework in which they can keep their UX modern, kind of through time, so they can keep their content fresh, keep their notifications coming in. Some of the framework laid out. Something that their developers can take on to easily create widgets and update pages and add content and all that. So I'm really excited for the next stages of the UC's project. So I think with that, we wanted to open it up for some Q&A. I saw Andrew has been answering some of the questions in the chat.
I think there might be one in here. I know that, yeah, Andrew has done a really good job of responding to everybody as they come in. There's one that I thought it might be good to get Susie or Bill's perspective on. There's a question: how easy is it for someone in benefits or HR, for example, to update this text that displays for the different topics? Any feedback from the university on that?
So just to clarify, is that in regards to the menu?
That I
Sure.
don't know. The portal items, Amy said.
This is the question I answered in the chat already. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah. And I was thinking that if folks might want to have UCOP's feedback on that as well.
Yeah, I think it's fairly easy, and it depends on the skill set of the staff that you have. So there's two people on my team that were the portal administrators for the previous portal, so they already had a good baseline experience on managing those types of things, but they were able to quickly pick up the Gideon Taylor web UX tools, and they actually created some of the pages in parallel with Gideon Taylor, and made some updates, managed the alerts, and really not from a development standpoint, it's just using the tools that are provided by Gideon Taylor. So I would say, depending on the skill set, it could be fairly easy to do so.
Yeah, and kind of to that point, as far as the configuration of the labels, we have easy front end configurations that you can go in, organize your data, move things to different sections, relabel things, provide content. So we've tried to take the technical effort where maybe you have someone going into structure and content and all these scary places to update the technical information, and we've tried to provide a front end that allows the functional team to be able to handle a lot of that.
Any other questions for the team?
I'll just add some about the personas. So I would agree with Andrew's comment. I think for our transactor managers, we're in the thousands. So we have a lot of more specific groups within those populations, but overall, we kind of took the larger ones of the transactor manager and contingent workers, which again are upward of like 12,000 or so users that have those personalized views.
One thing I would add, if just information, we went live in July. We've already, and to the previous comments, we've already maintained some of the notices. We also, in our deployment, made it in a way where it would be easier to upgrade. So for instance, we went live with an integration with our older version of Salesforce Live Chat, and we're going to be upgrading the chat actually this weekend to the latest version of Salesforce, and it's going to be a seamless experience for the users. Really, it's more behind the scenes, but we were able to do that based on how easy it was to plug into the technology. And then Andrew mentioned this, we are working on some on leveraging the Gideon Taylor's AI tool. And so again, seamlessly integrating that into the user experience. So from their standpoint, it's simple, it's just there, it makes sense. And behind the scenes, we've taken care of all that complexity. So I think the overall platform allows us to plug in those different technologies to support our user needs.
Great.
There was just a question in chat. I'll just repeat it verbally that we have PeopleSoft for SIS, HCM, financials. We'd like to implement a portal. I assume that means kind of like the starting point inside PeopleSoft campus and have single sign-on and navigation across campus, HCM, and finance. Does GT provide a portal specific to PeopleSoft SIS with vanilla fluid self-service homepage based on user role? Yes, we do all those things. So I put, if you're interested in talking more about that, seeing a demo, some screenshots, you can always reach out anytime to hello@gideontaylor.com, and we can have a personal discussion with you, go through your use case, give you some advice on where we think you could go with it.
Yeah, and just to point out, all of these solutions are bespoke. It depends entirely on what you want that experience to be, how you want your users to navigate from one application to another, and what you want that whole that portal experience to be. It's an awesome way to sit down and just whiteboard what you imagine that ideal user experience to be.
I think one thing that's worth knowing about the UCOP systems is that there's a reason why this implementation didn't include finance and student. They're a little bit unique in that the HCM system is shared across all of their systems, but their campus systems are housed by each individual university. So it just makes things a little bit different when you're thinking about how they set up and why it's only HCM. And I actually don't know, Bill and Susie, are the finance systems also housed by each individual campus or university?
They are.
I knew student was for sure. I wasn't sure about finance.
Chuck, did we have other slides?
Yes, it's just the wrap-up slides. So, yeah.
Let's go ahead and flip to, let's hit these. And certainly as we go through these closing slides, if folks have additional questions, feel free to pose those in the chat. We're more than happy to respond.
Yep, definitely.
So we've got a couple more of these to round out the year. I don't know, Lynette or Alicia, are we hosting a lunch and learn in December?
We are, yep, December 11th.
Very good. So the ones that are near term, October and November, we don't have titles on them or presenters. Alicia, do you want to?
So the next one we're sharing in October is City Colleges of Chicago. They've implemented a really great solution that allows people to search their continuing education course catalog and very quickly check out for classes. So if I want to take a Zumba class and I'm not currently a student, it has a very robust search capability that feeds through to checking out. And then in November, we have an exciting session that our very own Jay Jorgensen is going to be sharing some of the features that are being released in 3.7 version of GTE forms. And it's very cool. They've been busy working. So
Nice.
Right.
So I'm assuming that he's going to be touching on eForms Assistant and configurable CIs as part of that.
You got it, Scott.
oh, silly
Oh,
God, that's for
Jay,
3.7.5, not 3.7.0.
Oh,
I mean, maybe Jay, maybe you are, but I think we're also planning to show what is 3.7.5. So this is the next release, the
that's
new
right. I thought the
features,
slide
the
said
latest and
3.7.0.
greatest. Yes,
Excellent.
yes.
Cool. And I'll just put a quick plug in for that one in October. That is a really exciting one, City Colleges of Chicago with the continuing ed solution, because it's all PeopleSoft based. So you've got an external facing application for potential students to register for continuing ed. As Lynette said, they can peruse the course catalog, they can compare courses, register for those courses, go through the payment process, and get enrolled in those courses. So it's a very cool, comprehensive end-to-end solution that, I'm excited to see because I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. Upcoming GT training. This is our calendar for the next couple of months. Many of these are for eForms users, eForms clients to help you better understand what the tool is capable of, do some deeper dive. We do have a broad intro to GT eForms down there in the first column coming up the latter part of October. That's a week-long training getting, if you've got new folks that you want to get introduced to form building, that is an awesome, that's the same intro course that every new client gets to take. And then I think that Alicia or Lynette, are there any of these that are generic to PeopleSoft? Or are these all eForms related content?
Looking the campus solutions, there are some generic campus solutions tools that we talk about, but we also talk about how you can utilize those with GT eForms. Most of these are specific to eForms.
Sounds good. So you can always find more information out on our website. We actually have a dedicated site to documentation and training. And I think if you scan that QR code up at the top, that'll probably take you to the descriptions and the schedules for the training. And is that it for our slides, Chuck? I think
Yeah, that's it for the slides.
All right. Does anybody have any closing comments?
Just want to thank everybody for their time and appreciate being able to share our experience with everyone. Hopefully it helps.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks, Bill and Susie, for being here. I know I was just chatting with Susie the other day saying, oh, we miss our daily, weekly talks. It's been a while. It seems like it was just yesterday.
Yep.
Until the next one, right, Chuck?
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Bill and Susie, thank you very much for joining us today. Awesome presentation, exciting content, and thank you to everyone for joining. Have a great day, and we'll see you at future events.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks everyone.